And we are live once again. Looking at the sun from the perspective of the colored magnetogram. We see the degradation of sunspot 2739 and the setting of sunspot 2738, formerly known as sunspot 2736, producing a nearly C-class X-ray flare. Otherwise, solar activity very low. Let's look at 193 angstroms. We see some coronal holes that are right in the Earth-facing zone right now. We will be expecting to see some solar wind from them. Now we're looking at the view here of just today. So this is 420 only, folks. 420 only. We're looking at approximately 9 hours of activity here. And what do we see rising? We see nothing but extremely weak activity. Let's look at one more view. 304 angstroms. And you see right at the end of the video, you'll see an X-ray flare there popping off. And we're going to look for ejecta in a moment, but first, let's look at theveloshop.net and at a bike that I will be checking out today in person, the Felt AR3. Talk about an awesome ride. This thing, it's got all I need. And if you're interested in sponsoring cycling, if you're a corporate sponsor and you'd like to appear on our jerseys, please email me at smashomash@gmail.com and I will tell you how to make that a thing. If you want to sponsor me directly, I'm raising $5,500 by May 1st to get that bike and cover a whole bunch of other costs like taxes and licensing and all kinds of associated stuff with cycling, because we need a lot of things in order to do stuff like this. Let's look at the real-time solar wind. So here's 1 day of solar wind data for you. Solar wind density at 5.57 protons per cubic centimeter. A downtick from yesterday, as predicted, and solar wind speed quite low at 319 kilometers per second. Let's look at the gong 2 next. See the magnetic environment of the heliosphere. There's what's going on with that. This data nearly 3 hours old. Nothing too exciting to comment on there, although there is a lot of exciting stuff to comment on regarding cosmology. Before that, let's go to spaceweathernews.com. And there's that X-ray flare. Almost a C-class. That is a B8, I believe. However, that's not major. That's minor. There's some more data for you. Please stop scrolling. Oh my gosh. I think the page is loaded now, folks. So we see a KP of 1. And we see a little bit of perturbations there in the GOES magnetometer data. Nothing to really write home about. We do see an electron flux drop-off. So that's something to keep an eye on throughout the day. Charging hazards are pretty much non-existent. And the F2 layer is very discharged. Very discharged. especially on the sun side. Here are your auroral forecasts, and they are very weak, as we would expect with very weak solar activity. Next, we're going to look at the GOES X-ray imager, because on this channel, we like to show you stuff you may not otherwise see. So you're going to see a B8 flare come out here right toward the end of the video. There it is. Again, nothing to write home about. Next, we're going to look at the stereo A Core 2 space weather beacon. And we don't really see any ejecta. So nothing too exciting happening there, but there is some exciting stuff happening inside and outside the Milky Way galaxy, believe it or not. Here are the location of your planets. Let's advance it 7 days as a value-added service. And there's where things will be located in 1 week. Let's head to Solar Ham for an analysis of region 2739. This is still a beta class sunspot. We are expecting this to be downgraded to an alpha class sunspot today, as that's barely an umbra. That will be downgraded today, mark my words. Next, we'll look at the magnetosphere movies. And let's get them to load so we can condense this stream as much as possible. First, we're going to look at the velocity. There we go, 90% size. Expecting a pretty weak velocity here. And we play these every day. Thanks to the University of Michigan for providing this geospace model. Next, we've got the density. I showed this to the boss's boss at work, and she was amazed that this is going on above her head right now. Yes, that's right. The YouTube channel's not a secret, folks. We're trying to teach everybody about this stuff, as it is in your best interest to understand the physics. Look at the pressure. Talk about weak. Now, we've seen it quite a bit weaker on this channel. If you head back to places like August of this year, we do these space weather videos every day. So there's a lot of data. A lot of data. And props to YouTube. Props to YouTube. Here are the geospace ground magnetic perturbations, first at the poles. Please note the South Pole is migrating toward Western Australia. And we have 2 North Poles. And there's the global view. We'll let that play through, as you cannot access this data. At least not yet. Next, we'll look at earthquakes. Midday yesterday, Universal Time, we see a 4.9 at Indonesia. And then about an hour later, we see a 4.5 in the Solomon Islands, 4.9 in Nicaragua, 4.5 at Russia. Here's a 4.8 at Guatemala, 4.8 at depth at Chile, 4.9 at Fiji at a very deep depth, 436 kilometers. Let me draw in the warning zones. Earthquake drought of the 7 magnitude variety for these locations, folks. The 7 magnitude drought continues. So if you're in those areas, be prepared. Please be prepared. Save lives. Don't cost them. We also see a 5.0 in Indonesia, 4.9 at Papua New Guinea, 4.5 at Easter Island, 4.7 in Iran, 5.0 in the Solomons, 4.5 at depth in Chile, 4.5 in Tonga, 4.9 also at depth in the Fiji Islands. Heads up, Fiji Islands. And lastly, a 4.6 in India, taking place about 1 hour before this stream. Let's look at windy.com. Take a look at those low pressures. Now, over the U.S., we see a large anticyclone in the North Atlantic, and we see a less powerful anticyclone over the Pacific. Let's zoom out, and that did not work. Let's zoom out. Actually, I can't zoom out. Anyway, there's South America. As we did see a deep quake there, the low pressure zone is located right here. More like right there. There we go. Let's let this play forward for a minute. That's a bit of a persistent low there, so you could be seeing more earthquakes in South America, folks. Let's bring this back and look at Oceania. When I say Oceania, I mean the area around the east of Australia, places like New Zealand, Tonga, Fiji. We do see some fairly anomalous lows here over places like Papua New Guinea. You see a powerful anticyclone right off the coast of Kamchatka, increasing the relative power of this low. Because keep in mind, pressure gradients play a role, folks. Pressure gradients play a role. Let's not get into the weeds. Let's just move on to the next slide, which is volcanodiscovery.com. We'll look at today's volcanoes, as we've seen some new additions to the list in the past few days. Shivaluch is back to producing a 13,000-foot ash plume. Also Dacona and Revenador. So only 3 on the list so far today, folks. That's a volcanic downtick. It's official. If you're on social media, please check us out on Patreon. We need your support in order to keep these videos coming every day, as we are not yet sustainable. Our budget is more than zero, but if you would step up and be our 3rd patron, we would greatly appreciate it. Also, if you'd like to give us one-time donations, just head to paybal.me. We only need another $5,475 to raise the funding goal for the cycling season. Also, if you're on Minds, check out minds.com/smAsho. In fact, if you're not on Minds, get on Minds. They will not censor you. They will not throttle your content. And you can even get paid in cryptocurrency through your views. Now, Smash does not tweet. However, the videos are all on Twitter also. So for your peeps who only use Twitter, share our videos there. We're not even at 1,400 subscribers yet, folks. And believe me, the production is increasing in complexity. So get in on the ground level and help support our channel in whatever way you can. We're also on Facebook. And we also have a group page called Entropy Busters, because We are entropy busters, and we want to see you be entropy busters too, folks. We are reducing entropy in our universe for obvious reasons. People, if you don't watch Live PD, you should. And why? Regurgitation and progress, folks. Regurgitation and progress. Not everything's serious in a TV show. Not everything's serious. We do screw around quite a bit. Also, check out smashomash.org, as we will be making your contributions to the channel tax deductible by the end of the year. We're looking to publish 3 scientific papers this year, and the operation is expanding in ways you could not possibly imagine. Here's the mission: to assist, study, and report on the ongoing formation of a unified theory of physics, to raise the awareness of the general public of the relationship between space weather and Earth effects, to connect and consult with media organizations to multiply our reach, to demonstrate cutting-edge proof-of-concept solutions to problems, to publish scientific papers in a multidisciplinary manner, to assist mankind by advancing the study of predictive phenomenon in order to optimize value, reduce risk and liability, save lives and resources, and adapt no matter what the adversity is. And lastly, to not be ossified in our beliefs and to treat those who are with love, respect, and inclusion to the scientific discussion. By the way, this track is called Dr. Steelshank. It's an homage to my pal, Dr. Sam Afif. So shout out to Sam Afif. And this track is available at soundclick.com/Golden Productions, a link you will find in the description of this video. Next, we're going to look at the U.S. Doppler radar, and we see Indiana and Ohio still getting pummeled, and some great surf off the coast of southern South Carolina. If I were down there, I'd probably be wearing a wetsuit right now, and I'd probably be emerging from the ocean, barely able to walk. Let's show you the water vapor map as a value-added service. Here is the unzoomed U.S. water vapor map. And for that, NASA goes, we thank you. And let's just take a close-up of the convergence zone, which is right over south central Pennsylvania. Not to be confused with south central LA. And there's a convergence zone going on. Let's move on because there's a lot of stuff to cover even still. If you like the music, check out Golden Cat Productions on soundcloud.com/Daniel-Nigro2. Links also in the description. Here's a sound click page we were talking about. And here's Dr. Steelshank. From the Professor Krookenstein album, which was produced in 2003 or so. Maybe 2002. I can't remember, frankly. And I'm not going to look up the dates because who cares? Anyway, stream or download some music, as it is all 100% original and 100% for sale. So if you know music execs who are looking for new original tracks, send them my way. Next, we're going to look at some transients here because there's some serious stuff going on in your galaxy, and you may want to know about it. So let's head to the Neil Gorell Swift Observatory at the Burst Alert Telescope to show you some stuff that may have you scratching your head. First, we're going to look at the transient analysis for Cygnus X1. And I would like to note something, that this thing shut down between day 90 and day 100. See that right there, folks? That's a 10-day period of no transients from Cygnus X1. something recognized by folks that don't understand the physics as a black hole. Now, if you're not familiar with Cygnus X1, it's a very famous galactic X-ray source. It's the first widely accepted, quote, black hole, end quote. So we consider this part of a X-ray binary system, as a lot of things in the universe seem to be binaries. Anyway, we will leave links to every one of these pages. Let's move on to some more transient analyses here. Next, we're going to look at the Vela pulsar. And what did the Vela pulsar do? Well, the Vela pulsar shut down during the exact same period of time, between day 90 and day 100. Now, don't you find that a little bit odd and coincidental, folks? Are we looking at galactic level phenomenon here? Well, the answer is yes. If you're not familiar with the Vela pulsar, this is what it is. It's a pulsar, and we are viewing it at a kind of a 45-degree angle in perspective of the jets and the B field. If you don't know what a B field is, look up magnetic field. Magnetohydrodynamics, the B field. It's the field that goes through a magnet. Whoops. I didn't mean to draw that, folks. All right, anyway. Now, let's look at the transient analysis for Sagittarius A star. If you're not familiar with Sagittarius A star, I don't know why you're watching our channel, because this is the core of the Milky Way galaxy. So for you new viewers out there, now don't you find it a little bit odd that Cygnus X1, the Vela pulsar, and Sagittarius A star all seem to have shut down between day 90 and day 100. Now, if that's freaking you out, it gets weirder. Here's the transient analysis for Cygnus A. Now, this is located over 500 million light years away. And yet, what do we see? If you're not into radio astronomy, I suggest you get into radio astronomy. We see Cygnus A, the second strongest radio source in the sky, shutting down at the same time that X1 and the Vela pulsar and X3. Anyway, here's Cygnus A, a massive radio galaxy, and the second strongest radio source in the whole sky. Now, if you don't know anything about cosmology, I don't know what to tell you. We're getting a little advanced here, and sorry if we've lost you, but I'm going to advance this track because I don't want a Scarface cut causing me to get uncopyrighted. So here's a track produced in 2008 called You, Me, Us. And this is some polyphony on the Golden Cat Productions label. Anyway, Cygnus A, we'll leave links to that also if you're not aware of this massive radio galaxy producing stronger radio emissions on Earth than stuff from inside your galaxy, except for the sun. If you don't think it's relevant, I can't help you. Here's a transient analysis for Cygnus X3. And what do you know? Between day 90 and day 100, this thing shut down too. Now, if you think that's a coincidence, sorry to tell you that it's not. And we're not going to go into the implications of this. We're just going to talk a little bit more about X3. Now, X3 is known as Deneb. It is the most distant single point of light that can be viewed with the human eye alone. We're having a hard time determining how far away it is because this is what we call a blazar. We're looking right down the Z field of this crazy high mass X-ray binary. And if you're not aware, Deneb is also the celestial North Pole at the other end of the precessional cycle. So we're uncovering some stuff here that we don't want to explain fully what this really means, but you may want to pay attention. You may want to tell your friends and family and colleagues to subscribe to our channel, because we're covering stuff that absolutely nobody else is, and it's probably because they don't understand it. And we're trying to get them to understand it, but it's quite a tough process. So let's look at some more views of the sun and close this thing out. While I thank our viewers for tuning in, next thing I would do is open up the chat. So let me head back to this here, and we'll see if anybody's hanging out and what they're saying. Or if you're waiting for me to tune in right now, what you're saying. Ha-ha. So here we are at 171 angstroms. And we are about to be facing a very blank solar disk here, as sunspot 2739 degrades and sunspot 2738 sets. And I would like to thank our newest patron. Thank you very much. We won't let you down. And there is going to be a paywall for the live stream, so don't you worry a bit. $1 makes a huge difference, folks. $1 makes a huge difference. So thanks for joining smAsho staff and Maca Steel and Kalo Jan and Skippy and Captain Anthony and Nesda Skip. Cheers. Thank you very much. We are pulling out of here, as there's a lot of stuff to do today, like every other day. So thanks for tuning in, folks. Remember, when you're staring at the sun, don't drink. And if you drink, stare at the sun. Just don't drive. And may the solar wind be at your back and the atherosclerosis absent from your veins.